Hello, and welcome to another broadcast of Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers Artisan Creative Showcase. My name is Mark Miller, and today I have a special guest, and he has a special friend. We have Micah Kolding over here, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce your special friend's name.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Doublon le chat. Je suis le plus grand chat dans tout le monde. This is great. The eyes of the world are upon me. Wow. What a great platform to deliver my manifesto. Is it okay if I deliver my manifesto?
Let me talk to Micah first about his books, and then you can deliver your manifesto.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if you've ever delivered a manifesto before.
No, we haven't, so it'll be the first.
Big icebreaker. Huge. You say, hi, I'm Doublon. Can I deliver my manifesto to you? People are like, wow, this guy must be extremely sane.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Micah, you have 3 children's books, correct?
Well, I got 2 children's books, and this one's definitely not. I mean,
it's more a YA or young adult.
Yeah, I mean, it's got some 4-letter words in it, so it's just,
a little bit adult. Yeah, then. Okay.
My illustration does kind of send a different message, but some of the characters in there escape from children's stories, and they are trying
to expand into the adult world in a way, universe. That's interesting.
Yeah, through the plot hole is a tale about a motley of characters from different fictions. Most of them people who, the type of archetypes that would die in their own stories. They're trying to escape into reality via a plot hole. And that's what you got going there. You got the Disney princess right there. It's a survivor from a horror story. You got the mentor character from a sci-fi, the faceless minion, and up there, that is the cat from, he's essentially Tom from Tom and Jerry, something like that.
Okay.
Dies over and over again.
So you also have, these are 2 children's books about a mermaid.
Yeah.
Which ones did you start writing first?
Let's see, well, I mean, of the 2 children's books, this one came first, and then followed up with that one.
And you do all the illustrations though too.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have much more artistic capability than me, because all I can do is do stick figures.
Oh, well.
So that's cool. So how long ago did you start writing?
Oh gee, how long ago? Let's see, my oldest surviving story, I must have been about 4, just dictating Mickey Mouse fictions to my dad, and he would write them down for me because he was great like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, an absolutely surreal story about Cowboy Mickey Mouse buying a fish, I think it was.
Oh, that cool.
It was wild.
Yeah.
That's the oldest story I have.
Oh, and did you save any of those stories?
Yeah, they're somewhere. Written on construction paper.
So maybe they'll get published one of these days.
I don't think they should be. I mean, they kind of replicate the experience of being on drugs without high.
Okay.
It's a wild, surreal story. It's the kind of stuff you come up with when you're 4.
Well, that's true. So, I guess part of your life experience led you to writing these books and deciding to write a book about a mermaid, or 2 books about a mermaid.
Yeah.
I mean, I like this one, The Mermaid Who Wanted to Fly. That's kind of a very unique subject matter.
Oh, yeah. It's, let's see. Well, I guess, I first wanted to try doing an illustrated children's book, because that was, my dad growing up, he did a lot of children's illustrations, did some stuff for a children's television workshop, Tommy DePaulo, whatnot, and just always thought about trying to do something like that myself. Just wanted to come up with a strong concept. I came up with the idea of the first one while involved in a community theater production of The Addams Family.
Oh.
And I mean, that doesn't really have much to do with it. I just being involved in community theater, you get to deal with all the little actor kids, and they're fun. They tend to think I'm quite a novelty because, I come in and they're like, there's this guy here who's not anybody's husband or dad and seems to be here willingly. That's so weird. And they just they tend to be drawn towards me and just talk about, like, I just remember this, one little girl just really eager to talk about her gecko with me and asked if I like geckos and stuff, and I realized, like, there's just a need for I mean, there's all these kind of tomboy types that I feel aren't, I don't know, they don't get a lot of, I feel like tomboys don't get a lot of attention. And
well, because people try to put they try to put you into a hole with a peg, you know, and stereotypes and stuff. So they want you to react to specific ways,
And then I don't know, I came up with this idea of, I like the idea of a tomboy mermaid, something that's very, it tends to have a very girly aesthetic to it, and I just like the idea of this gang of guys who just pal around with their mermaid friend.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So while you're doing your creativity here, somehow you met your friend.
Oh, yes.
So why don't you kind of go through the thing about how you met your friend here?
Oh, well, okay. Funny story. Dublon here started off based on an actual cat. Back when I still was living in an apartment, had a roommate. She adopted a cat who came with the name Dublin. And I was like, no, cats speak French. So his name is clearly Dublon. And we just started riffing like that. He developed a persona eventually. She ended up making me the puppet here because she's a very talented creator, does a lot of costuming and whatnot.
But I guess I see more than just a puppet. I see an actual entity, especially since he has a manifesto.
Yes, I am quite the entity. Yeah, fun fact, yes, when I don't look at things, they cease to exist. It's a big responsibility. Okay? Man. When I meet somebody, I'm like, oh, hi, it's great to meet you. And when I turn around and I'm not looking at this person anymore, he's gone.
So if you're not looking at the studio will be gone.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't prove it's not. Right?
You have a point.
I do. I have a great point. Object permanence is a myth.
So how long has he been living with you?
Oh, let's see. Okay, the prototype I created in 2020 out of the sleeve of an old sweater, and then oh man, when did this guy's about a couple of years old now?
2 years, cat years. So
that's
what?
Yes, since the beginning of time.
True.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not aware of anything that existed before me. Once again, you can't prove otherwise.
So not only is he a cat, but he's also a philosopher.
Yes, an empiricist.
Would you say that most cats, in your experience, are philosophers?
Well, yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer, yes. Big into the, I tend to philosophize. I'm the center of the universe. And, well, that's my philosophy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's usually most cats' philosophies.
Well, yes. Most of them are wrong, though. They haven't met me. And so I'm like, oh, you think you're the center of the universe? Fine. I'll just, you don't exist anymore.
So is he someday maybe have his own book?
Yeah, potentially, yeah. If I could come up with a good concept for one. But,
Well, I mean, he's an interesting character, and like you said, he's a cat who's a philosopher.
Yes.
And he has his own manifesto, and I don't know very many cats that have put together a manifesto. I mean, they usually like to eat, sleep, and, catnip, things like that.
So you've read my manifesto. Okay. Good. That saves a lot of time. I need to... Okay, if I could just get to the section on the canine space lasers, I think we'll be covered.
Canine space lasers.
Yes, they're real. Sometimes you see a tiny dot on the floor. It's dancing around and you're like, oh, I gotta get it. It's going up the wall. Ah, canine space lasers.
Oh, well, why do you think that dogs came up with the idea of the little lasers?
I don't pretend to understand the mentality of dogs, okay? That's not my job. I have no intention to dive down that rabbit hole. Ah.
But dogs do chase rabbits. Do cats chase rabbits?
Well, generally the rabbit is served to me in the pate form, I assume. Yes.
Yes. So, do you have another project in mind right now?
As far as writing goes?
Yeah.
I've been working on. Yeah, right now I've got this. It's a 5-novel arc. I'm writing book 3 right now and trying to shop the first one around. That's been frustrating, but yeah, it's a project I call the What Files, which is okay. I mean, okay. So to go back to the heart of this,
right.
I mean, I'm a millennial. We kind of normalize the idea of being big fans of Pixar movies well into adulthood, which I'm a big fan of. Just any kind of stuff that, you know, we kind of normalize the idea of remaining a big fan of stuff that gave you joy as a kid. And like you take a look at Pixar in particular, it's like they make good movies because they're aiming to make stuff that really resonates with people on a very basic, primal, childlike level. And if you can do that, then you know you're making something that's going to make everybody happy. And that's just some background of why I like Pixar movies and whatnot. And then this is one time I'm rewatching Toy Story, and I get to thinking, okay, so clearly there are adults in this world. They're doing adult things. There's probably an FBI.
Okay.
What would happen? What would the X-Files be like in the, who are the agents that are coming by to take care of Sid at the end of Toy Story, take care of the guy who, the toys talk to. And so that was the genesis of the What Files. WHAT stands for When Humans Aren't There. They're the FBI agents down in the sub-basement of the FBI. They got to deal with, they're the people who know that the world operates according to children's movie logic, and they have to deal with it.
Now that's a very original concept, because you're looking at it like you said, that the world does operate according to the rules that kids set up.
Yeah. And
the way that kids see things. And that's kind of, at least for me, I never grew up either. So you sit there and you look at all the old movies and stuff of your childhood and everything, and that resonates. So you always want to go back to those simpler times, and things like that. But then I'm one of the older people, so I'm pre-Pixar, but I remember all the old animated cartoons like Looney Tunes and all this stuff that they still show.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, and I remember Saturday morning cartoons where they had their own logic to them.
Yeah.
And, and things like that. There was. I still remember a series called Rough and Ready about this dog and this cat that had all these adventures,
Oh, were those their names? Or?
Yeah, Rough and Ready. Yeah, I know. It was back in the 50s,
I don't think I'd ever heard of that.
No, it was basically, it never got out of Saturday morning. And they had all these unusual adventures, and it may be sad because I don't know if a lot of the 50s cartoons were saved, because I know some of them weren't.
Yeah.
There was a local kids show called Captain Pugent. Dan McEwen was the guy who played Captain Pugent. He went on to do this Northwest travelogue series, which was quite popular. I bumped into his wife at a conference several years ago. Only one copy of one episode of his original kids show exists that they can find.
Wow.
Because everybody, they used to tape over the tapes over and over and over
Sure,
again.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's why, like Johnny Carson, they lost some of his early shows.
Wow.
So you sit there and how sad that is, because all of us kids have memories of that show, and to think that there's only one existing full show of Captain Puget,
Wow.
but yet they've got tons of his travel log shows because they saved those. But he showed it was like a early afternoon show. We had a bunch of local shows like Stan Borson too, and of course J.P. Patches and all that jazz. Seattle was, the area was this, Northwest was this big, huge developmental something for kids shows. Like Romper Room got started here, in the Northwest. So we sit there and, you take a look at shows like that, and then of course, like you said, with your idea of coming up with a series with kids' logic, and I look back and I think about the shows that they used to have, and of course, Rocky and Bullwinkle got started out as a kids show and kind of morphed a little bit more into a little bit more adult content, with the double jokes and stuff like that. So that'd be fascinating if you could do that.
Yeah.
With to me that sounds cool. These, a bunch of these FBI agents that are looking at the Pixar world. Did you watch that movie Pixar that came out a few years ago?
Oh, just called Pixar?
Yeah.
A documentary? No, I haven't.
No, it's Adam Sandler.
Okay.
And it's this ridiculous comedy, of course, where aliens use all of these video games and stuff.
Oh, Pixels.
Oh, Pixels.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm sorry, Pixels.
Yeah, I've not seen that.
Okay. It kind of uses that whole idea of the child logic, and the aliens are basing. They see all these video games and they think that's who we are.
Yeah.
And of course, how many video games that were built for kids, So, but they use all that. They use a lot of the pixels and stuff like that in the animation. And of course, but your friend here is not Pixels.
No! Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
He is a real entity.
Yes. I can just feel my majesty exuding out there.
Do you get along with dogs at all?
No!
How about other cats?
I can take or leave them. I mean, I feel like I'm just all the cat anyone needs. And yeah, what can I say? I'm great.
So, is he planning on writing any books?
Oh, yes. Yes. My manifesto.
Oh, okay. You're going to start out with your manifesto?
A is for A.
Yeah.
Yes. B is for B. Two B's, actually. There's two words that are just pronounced B. Yeah. C is not for C, weirdly enough. Either C. It's weird.
Is C for cat?
Dude, you just blew my mind there.
So, have you started writing on the what files?
Yeah. I've got the first two books. I'm halfway through the third one. Yeah, it's the most fun I've ever had writing something. It just
cool.
Yeah, I feel like just coming out of high school, when high school is a time in which English class gives you Catcher in the Rye and tells you it's deep and introduces you to the idea of metaphors, and you come out of it thinking if there's a certain kind of novel you're supposed to write, and you try writing the kind of novel that a English class is going to point out metaphor and allegory in, and then I feel like I kind of stopped doing that at some point and started realizing I'm just going to write what's fun to do. I remember, early on, like first time I tried writing a stage play, somebody said to me, like, you write backwards. You find something that's fun, and then you find the meaning later on. And it kind of blew my mind that didn't seem normal to him. I mean, I thought, I feel like when you try to find the meaning first, instead of just writing what you feel, you're writing with the part of your brain that should be doing taxes and math and whatnot, when you should be writing with the part of your brain that feels.
But you need to write, I tell people, you need to write from your soul. If you write thinking, well, I'm going to write this because it's going to sell, it's going to be popular, invariably you wind up writing like, I call them airport books.
Yeah.
They sell them at airports.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to write and you can sell it, fine. But I'm with you. You might come up with a concept, but then eventually what happens is it becomes fun.
Yeah.
Excuse me as I sit there and choke. But and I think that's what it's got to be. It's got to be fun. It's got to come from your soul.
Yeah.
You don't write for other people. You write for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had a thought. What was it? Oh yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah. I've often speculated how nobody ever says like, hey, I'm sure glad that I saw this trend in books or whatever and wrote yet another, I don't know, vampire romance or something like that.
Yeah.
The stuff that's big, like you take a look at some of the biggest phenomena, and it's like, on paper, like Hamilton would have seemed like an absurd idea. Let's make a hip hop musical about Alexander Hamilton. It's amazing because he wrote it very well. Or like a lot of musicals are like the Book of Mormon, who would...
That's true.
It's an amazing idea, but like on paper, you try to submit that to an agent. It's like, this seems dumb. Who's going to buy it?
That's the thing is, So I think we're about to run out of time.
Oh, are we? Okay.
So I want to thank you for coming here.
Oh, and thanks for having me.
I'm not gonna mutilate your name.
It's Doublon.
Doublon.
Doublon le chat.
Doublon le chat.
Oui.
Okay.
I speak cat French.
Hopefully I can have you back someday.
Oh, that'd be great.
Or maybe BCAT might want to have you back without me.
Yes.
So
there is a time in every generation where some TV event defines that generation.
And you might be it.
All the billions watching at home right now, this is your time. Buy books.
Well, we'd like to thank, once again, the audience viewership here for Bremerton Kitsap Access Television and the Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers Artisan and Creative Showcase here. I try to have these shows as often as we can, and of course, without the help of BCAT staff, this would not exist. Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers, we exist to help all creatives, authors, artists in basically getting your wares out there and letting the public know what you can do. So we meet twice a month on the first and third Wednesdays at Sparrow's on Kitsap Way in Bremerton, Washington. Meetings usually start officially at 7 p.m., but I'm usually there earlier. I also have a publisher who also has a film division, Blue Forge Press and Blue Forge Films, who helps me with the editing of these shows. So anybody who's interested in appearing in any of these showcase shows, you can contact me, Mark Miller, and we'll try to arrange it here with BCAT and have you come in here for a nice little interview like we just had with a very unique cat and a unique artist. Author. So with that, I want everybody to have a very pleasant day, productive year, and keep watching BCAT, Comcast Channel 3, Wave Cable Channel 3, Comcast Channel 12, as I mutilate that. Take a look at your local schedule on your cable TV, and take a look at the other various shows. And with that, I'd like to say goodbye and once again have a very pleasant day and a productive week.